Hey guys, Frank Cox here. I got something in the mail today. You're gonna want to check this out. Not exactly sure what it is, but I was told to make a video about it, unboxing it and all of that stuff. So stay tuned. All right guys, we're back. I have no idea what this thing is. It came in the mail. Let me see, I can only get my glasses on. I'm suspicious that it's a piece of welding equipment. It says Bestarc, B-E-S-T-A-R-C. Says they're from Texas. Not entirely sure, at least that's where it's shipped from. I haven't even opened it up, so I literally have no idea what's in this box. Danny, my assistant, happens to have a knife. Here we go. Whoop. Hope I didn't just cut it up. Oh, look here. I don't do a whole lot of unboxing videos on this thing, but I just saw here featured accessories, 1 plasma cutter. So let's see what's up in here. Not very heavy. Here's that. So apparently this is a plasma cutter. Let's see, it says latest IGBT inverter technology. Evidently this is a BTC 500 DP, whatever that means. It's got a plasma cutter in there, cutting torch. It's got everything you need for a plasma cutter, it looks like. Tolerant to variable voltage supply. Says it has a air regulator and stuff in it. So anyway, let's get on down to it. Cut this thing open, see what it looks like. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Bestarc or not. I have not. The girl that said that this was being sent to me, her name was Abby. Shout out to Abby for sending me a plasma cutter. I'm not entirely sure what we're getting into here. We'll find out here in just a minute. There we go. They did a good packaging job, it looks like. All right. Get down to business. Okay, comes with foam. It's a little bitty guy. 50, I'm not sure what the 500 is. I wonder if that means 50 amps. Not sure, that's a bunch of techno babble. Here we go, look at this. All right. So it looks like a plasma cutter to me. It's even got an air connection on it. I was suspicious if it would have a connection already on it. So that's got the same one that's on my hose. It's got a water separator here. I guess you have to pull that down, I guess, a little bit once in a while to purge it. Looks like to me, has the correct plug on it already. That's good to know. Here's the business side. So the regulator's on the front, which means that you're gonna have to set the air on your own for what you want. I don't see anything on here about settings really, so we're gonna have to dig into the book. Looks just like a regular old plasma cutter. Give me a few minutes here. We're gonna open up this box over here and see what's in it. All right, so here's the stuff that came with it. We got a hose for something. Looks like a whole bunch of fittings. Not entirely sure what to do with that. We'll find out here in a minute. There's a ground clamp. Looks like it's got pretty normal connection, but it's pretty small. This looks like an adapter if you want to go to 120 volts. I wonder if it actually connects up directly with no issues. We'll find out. Oh, here's the manual. Pretty thin, must not be a lot to it. Here's our gun. So just a moment ago when we opened this up, my biggest concern, just to be transparent, is I wonder what consumables are going to be like on this thing. So it looks like it's kind of like a Hypertherm looking consumable on there. It's got a little crisscross on there. From my experience, I don't know if that's really going to make a big difference or not, but it looks like the height on this guard looking thing is somewhat adjustable, and it's set for about a 1/16 of an inch high. This here is where the the air hooks up. It says the gun, there's a picture of the gun there, but anyway, that's the only fitting that the air can hook up to on this gun. And I'm not gonna over tighten it. I'm gonna give it hand tight just to see. There's this whole other thing here we call frank tight. We're not gonna go frank tight on it. So this connector only has one place to go. There's 2 pins and there's an alignment doodad on there you gotta hit. I like that it's a steel connector instead of plastic. That's kind of good. Take this little red thing off. That's the only place that this little eyeball thing can go. Here's ground clamp. Let's get the ground hooked up. Okay, here we go. We're gonna hit the go button. Got lights. 15. So this knob right here adjusts our amperage. And it goes up to 50. We're gonna cut some quarters, so I'm gonna set it on 45. That's what I set my other one on. We're set for 2T. It says cut, so that means it's ready. And I remember in the book, it said 50 PSI for this to cut on 6 millimeters, so that's quarter. So what we're gonna do is now when you're adjusting air on anything like this, you gotta adjust it under a dynamic load. Static is what this is called right now because there's no airflow. So I just pulled this out and I rotated it counterclockwise instinctively about a full turn, thinking that that's gonna drop it some, but before it'll do anything, I gotta actually pull the trigger. So let's pull the trigger. So I think we were about there, huh? That's about 50 on the air. Man, how about that pilot arc? It's there. All right, so I'm gonna push this off into the side here, get my gear on, and we'll just cut a piece of 1/4 inch real quick and just see how it goes. Now, a proper gap, as far as I've read on like hypertherm manuals and stuff like that, for tip to work distance is typically about a 1/16 of an inch. And I'm sitting here looking at it. You probably can't see it on the camera, but that's darn close. And so going into this, honestly, I am a little bit concerned. I haven't cut anything with this yet. I am a little bit concerned that this tip is gonna just get trashed pretty quick. So I'm gonna edge start this. I'm not gonna pierce yet. I'm gonna actually cut on the edge to give it a fair start. And that's where that pilot arc comes in real handy. So I'm gonna start off the edge and then I'm gonna pull into my material. And I'm gonna try to use this wiry guard here. I'm just gonna hold on to it with hands. And I'm gonna try just to rip this entire piece. I didn't like right now that piece, like if you're gonna cut on the edge, you're gonna have a pretty steady hand, you know, with that kind of a guard, or you're gonna have to rotate it, I suppose you could rotate it. But that guard height is not adjustable straight up. You're gonna have to take a pair of pliers and bend it, I think, to get that adjusted. Let me get my hood on. We're gonna try it here. I'm gonna cut off from the edge. Here we go. So, try again here. So when you see that sparks blowing up, that's when I speed up, trying to see like what my travel speed does. I know on 1/4 inch, with the hypertherm, I know that on 1/4 inch, it's like 48 inches a minute is the sweet spot with the hypertherm XP45. And so I've done it so much I can kind of tell where I'm at on that. So when you see me cutting, and the little sparks are on top and they're going ahead of it. I don't know if you can see that from that angle. That's like the right speed. And then when you see those little sparks on the surface go away, that's when I'm either speeding up or slowing down and trying to mess with it, I guess. But this piece is not cutting very clean right now. So, and then I think that thump that was happening a while ago, I think is just this cutter wants to see an arc pretty quick after it gets that pilot arc established. So let me go get a pair of pliers and break this off. Yeah. So here's a better look at our cut. I think that I need to turn that air up a little bit. The one thing about a hypertherm or something like that, it's going to automatically adjust that air for you. You're not going to have to deal with that. But on an entry-level cutter like this, it's not that big a deal to set. You're just going to have to play with the settings a little bit. The cut, from my eye, I don't know if you can see it on the camera there, it's pretty beveled, I think. You know, this kind of dross right here is a low-speed dross, and I think that low air pressure can do that. Maybe this time I'll make another cut before I change it, and maybe Danny can spot my air and tell me if I'm at 50. Here we go. You good at 50? See if that's any better. It did cut cleaner that time. So the dross is still pretty low speed or pretty big, built up. This is the side that I cut just now. It's still pretty big dross. The cut is actually a lot more square that time. So it could just be the way that I was holding it, or the fact that that ground clamp was laying on the material instead of actually clamped on. And also, this piece is much hotter than it was on the first cut because I've been cutting already on it, and it is pretty warm to the touch. So, all right, let's run that air pressure just a little bit higher. And of course, I'm also set for 45 on this, 45 amps, which that's where I would set the hypertherm anyway for this material. So there's 55. Let's see what we do there. Like I said, I saw a chart for air settings, but I didn't see a chart in the book right out of the box. I didn't see a chart in the book for amp setting, right? But is it cutting? Yes, it's cutting, and it's not bad. I think it's just settings is all it is. Still getting a little bit of that. Much cleaner cut that time. Something I do with my hypertherm all the time is when I'm cutting, if I see that whale spout there, I'll kind of go back and hit it again. Let's see what our dross looks like. So we're still pretty beaded up on that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take a bigger chunk this time. We're gonna give us that much. And I've still got some material there, so we're good. All right, try again here. That tip's staying pretty clean too. Okay. Wish I had a marker mark. So this side is what I just cut. This, yeah, it's still pretty big, pretty sloppy, low speed dross. Is it cleanable though? Absolutely. I mean, what do you think, Danny? Yeah, it's not bad. It's flaking right off. So what do I think about this thing? I don't know. Let me cut a circle real quick. Actually, let me freehand cut something. Let's just see what we can do freehand here. So that's that. So there's some curvy cuts. I mean, the dross is still the same, but it looks pretty square, man. I mean, overall, I don't see any bevel in that. Now we're set for 65 on air and 50 on amps. Let's see what it does here. Well, look at here.
That's pretty clean.
Man, it cut a lot better when we set it hotter. Look at that. This side, on the straight side, that's really good. Good straight cut. I mean, it's, other than my curviness, doesn't look really gouged or nothing in our plasma pattern. I'd say that's probably a winner right there. So I don't know, I'd probably just run it maxed out. I think on quarter is probably where I would do like this. I don't see a reason to go down unless you're cutting like 16 gauge and you're getting a ton of like really bad dross. Yeah, it's probably a little hot for 16 gauge or 1/8 inch. I'd probably let it go down a little bit. But if you're cutting quarter all day like we are in here, you know, and you're trying to start a smoker shop and you're on a budget, I think that's a good cutter. I think I would probably do it. I think in the next video, I think I'm going to put this one up against the Hypertherm, but I'm probably going to wait a little while to do that video. So anyway, guys, we'll keep using this thing here in the shop, and we'll see over time what we think about it. But so far, thumbs up. It's a good cutter. If you're on a budget and all that stuff, $299 on Amazon. There's a link in the description. If you want to grab one, and I make nothing off of it. They sent me a plasma cutter, you know, to try and tell them what they think, what I think about it, and it's a good cutter. What I'd like to see it do is cut some tanks, maybe. We'll get into some of that maybe. So anyway, guys, if you want more stuff like this, head over to smokerbuilderu.com. That's where our community hangs out, and all the nerds like me that want to know how all this equipment works and how to, you know, all this kind of stuff, how to plasma cut, how to weld, how to build smokers, design stuff. Just go on over there, smokerbuilderu.com, and maybe you'll run into Dr. Danny over there. So appreciate you guys. Have a great one. See ya.